not because of luck, but because I changed how I thought about money every single time I got paid. These are the 5 easy to start strategies that will give you financial control, power, and freedom. The first one is the most important. The ultimate secret to building wealth is a simple daily reminder. You are broke, even if you're making $50,000 a month. You see, when you start to think about how much money you're making and you get excited about the amount of money you're making, you need to reduce yourself back down to zero. The way that people who are successful think about money is it is an ever-evolving, ever-changing, ever-attention-grabbing tool. It's something that they need to put their attention on. They need to focus on, because if you don't focus on it, it is going to stay stuck, which because of inflation actually means that your money is getting devalued. By fully accepting that you're broke, you shift your identity and you open yourself to take the disciplined actions that lead to wealth. This mindset creates an internal urgency to keep working, to keep building, and to focus on the impact you create. The moment you start thinking you have a lot of money is the moment where things start to go awry. If you're like me, who thought she was rolling in dough when she dropped out of college and had $3,500 in her bank account, you are mistaken. There is no real security in the money that you have. The security that you have is in your ability to earn money. The amount of money you have today is based off of yesterday's work. So the only way to truly create financial freedom and security is to have so much confidence in what you can create today that would allow you to make an impact on your bank account. Now, yesterday's money is fantastic. Let's say you made $5,000 last month. That's awesome. Your target for this month should be $10,000 because you're broke. The money that you created, the wealth that you have, the work that you did is already over. And it's crazy because I've watched people who have made the exact amount of money that they could have only dreamed about 5 years ago within a couple of days, maybe at most a couple of weeks, start to get insecure. And the insecurity comes from the fact that they are no longer doing what's required to create wealth. And as insecurity creeps in, you start to constrain, you start to doubt, you start to take less risks instead of truly being at a place to have financial freedom. So yes, you are broke. There's no shame in being broke. The only shame in being broke is by thinking that you're not actually broke, because now is the time where you need to take action in order to get unbroke. Next is number 2. Most people never think with big enough numbers. How much money could actually change your life? Have you ever thought about this? Forget where you are today. Is it $5,000 a month? Is it $10,000 a month? Is it $50,000 a month? $100,000 a month? $1 million a month? What is the number? Because if you aren't clear on the number, I promise you, you're never going to get the number. A wild thing happens when you really do the math with large numbers, because you will figure out very quickly that what is required to get you to where you want to go is entirely different from what you're doing today. And we've already gone to zero because we now know that we're broke. As long as we're clear that the actions we're taking today are creating this broke state, we have a lot of control, because what's required then is to just act differently today. If you are currently making $5,000 a month and you think $50,000 a month would be life-changing, game-changing money for you, amazing. How do you 10x the output? Now, if you work in an hourly job, I can promise you that you just 10xing the amount of hours that you work in a day doesn't work, because that math doesn't math. You'd have to be spending your time in more valuable areas, solving more complex problems with greater skill set in order to earn 10 times more money. So it becomes very logical from there. What do I not know that somebody who's making $50,000 a year does know that I need to learn and be able to execute flawlessly at? I know it's hard enough to confront that you're broke, but while we're confronting that we're broke, we might as well just confront the missing skills, the missing education, and the incorrectly spent time that is just out of alignment with your goals. When I was making $55,000 a year at a job that I hated, I will never forget when one of my team members who was interning in the accounting department let me know that one of the C-suite executives made $1 million a year. And I thought to myself, what is he doing and what does he know that I don't? Because when I talk to this individual, he's not that much smarter than me. He is certainly not a harder worker than I am. And he's only a handful of years older than me. So what am I missing? Because I want to be making $1 million a year not making $55,000 a year. And as soon as I found out this number, I just started to watch this man, how he communicated, how he showed up to meetings, the way that he presented himself, the projects that he was working on. And I recognized the way that he engaged was entirely different than the way I engaged. He engaged in a way that took full ownership and responsibility. I'll never forget watching him in a meeting where he walked in, he had no context to what we were talking about, so I thought, and within 2 or 3 minutes, he was entirely shifting the direction of the meeting to go in alignment to the vision that he had. And it was wild because he technically didn't even know what we were talking about, but he did, because he had full ownership and full responsibility of driving that initiative forward. So when you find that you're not getting paid what you think you should make, fastest hack is to get in proximity to somebody who is making that amount of money and watch and compare how they show up versus how you show up. Stop treating your paycheck like a prize. It is your tool. Your income is your tool for you to be able to have access to opportunities in the future. And if you think of it like a prize, you're going to think that you won something. You have something to go celebrate about. There's no celebration in your paycheck. You use your paycheck to fuel where you are trying to go. It is the greatest tool that you have in securing your financial future. Why? It gives you access. You do not use money as if it is burning a hole in your pocket, just ready to be spent as soon as you earn it. You see, I've had this mindset from a very young age. At first, when I dropped out of college and had $3,500 in my bank account and thought I was rolling in dough, I all of a sudden realized how expensive the real world is. And that realization hit me about a month after I left school. How much bills were, utilities were, my car payment, my insurance. And all of a sudden, I had a rude awakening that I was broke. And I kept this broke mindset for a decade. When it came to stocking up on toilet paper, I would buy one roll of toilet paper, one box of Kleenex, one thing of shampoo and conditioner, and it wasn't the nice stuff that I use today. Why? Because I needed to conserve my money because I recognized that it was the tool for my future. It was not something that I just wanted to blow and have instant satisfaction around today. Every dollar mattered. And I did have quite a bit of anxiety about my ability to stack up cash. Your ability to get this discipline in, especially when you're young, sets you up for success in the future because you can trust yourself with money. If you can't trust yourself with money, you will never have lots of money because people who have lots of money know how to use money. If you're the type of person that every time you get it, it goes out the door and you spend it, you do not have the self-control for your own impulses for the world to trust you with giving you their money. Why? You're just going to go spend it. You're going to waste it. You're going to blow it. Versus the person who has discipline and has enough of a long-term perspective to be able to have money so that they can use it in moments when opportunities present themselves. This is probably TMI, but I still have this conservation mindset. Now, do I have enough money today to afford as many razors as possible? Yes, but in my mind, growing up, razors were expensive, and so you didn't want to replace razors very frequently. I would go 6 months without replacing my razor, and it would give me razor burn and all the cuts because the blade was dull. And I didn't want to spend more money because I thought razor blade heads were really expensive. And it wasn't until my husband finally said, "Natalie, why do you use the same razor over and over and over again?" when I realized that he actually gets rid of his razor every single time he uses it. Compare, contrast. And I realized that I had this scarcity mindset. This scarcity mindset gives me a lot of confidence in myself. The mindset is to use your paychecks to get ready for the next opportunity. You're never going to be ready if you just blow through your money. And it's important to try and keep your living expenses as low as possible. Not spending frivolously, not taking on large payments. You think of your paycheck as a launch pad for future growth and investments. Pay the price today so you can pay any price tomorrow is so grounded in this idea of financial discipline. What is required of you today in order to create the future version of you? You are going to have to make sacrifices. There's not a single successful person on this planet who has a significant amount of financial wherewithal that created it themselves, didn't make sacrifices. So what sacrifices are you willing to make today? And if you are the type of person who is serious about their goals, what's so cool is It's pretty easy when you put it in this context to say no to the Uber Black or the lip gloss or to the fancy dinners. Because if that's all that's required to have discipline and to create confidence in yourself that you are building into the future that you want, it's not really that hard. So pay the price. What is the price that you have to pay today? If you open your bank account up right now, I have a feeling that you could find a handful of areas where you need to pay the price and have a season of scarcity. Are you willing to go through 6 months of scarcity in order to build the habits and the discipline of somebody who you know in the future has full control over where they spend their money, how much is in their bank account, and their ability to create on opportunities? The answer, when you put it so simply, is of course I am. That's an easy layup question. So then start acting like that today. As you open up your bank account, what areas do you need to have you sacrifice? So imagine that you're writing a book about yourself. Future you is able to talk about this time where you went through scarcity, this time that you created sacrifice, and you can point people to how necessary it was for you to cut out certain luxuries, and it kind of romanticizes the whole thing. Now, does it feel romantic while it's happening? Of course not. But your ability to tell this story and figure out ways to sell yourself on why the sacrifice matters is important. So mock up whatever the story is. Imagine you're in front of hundreds of thousands of people in the future and you talk about the time where you had to sleep on the floor, where you couldn't buy people Christmas presents, where you worked 20-hour days. So what kind of story do you want to tell? You see, sacrifice isn't always about deprivation and starving yourself of great things. It is about alignment with the future that you're building. So choosing discipline over indulgence is what builds the character, the confidence, and the cash required to level up your life. Lastly, number 5, financial dependence kills trust and your power. No one is coming to save you, including your future partner. Now, this is for all my ladies out there who think that they don't have to learn these lessons because somebody is just going to come into their life and they are going to take on the financial responsibility in the relationship. Even if you find somebody who is more financially well off than you are, you do not want to ever be in a position where you feel like you are dependent upon somebody. And furthermore, there's nothing better in a relationship than having the trust between two people that both parties can be trustworthy with money. What I mean by this is think about your future spouse here for a second. Do you think that they would be excited to list out this quality of yours? That you always buy things whenever you have an instant urge, you have no ability to be disciplined, and you spend frivolously. No partner is jumping up and down to be with that person unless they're trying to take control of you. If you're okay with somebody controlling you in this way, it's probably a different video. But if you want to have a lot of confidence in yourself, in your future relationship, you have to take responsibility of your finances today, because no one is coming to save you. Even if they do have more resources than you, you have to create the position that you are able to take financial control at any point in time, which would mean learning this discipline today. Knowing your finances and having financial discipline isn't just smart, it's super sexy. It builds trust, it builds influence, and it builds power in your relationships. If you want to be with somebody that has a high level of trust in you, you have to be a person worthy of trust. So do your spending habits reflect that you are trustworthy? If they don't, how do you fix that so the person that you do end up spending the rest of your life with actually trusts you? So treat your paycheck and your finances with the value